do you have a party that you put together that it sits with you in terms of it was such a good vibe for you, like you enjoyed?
Yeah, I mean a lot of there are two that just stick out. Just not even thinking about that was one of the first parties I did in when I was with 617. I was with them for 17 years. And Ace, Sal, Frankie, the absolute legends of in winter and absolute legends of nightlife, and they brought me in, and it was my first night work. It was literally first night working with them on Saturday night at venue. I ended up being there for 17 years on those Saturdays, but it was this Jamie Foxx party, and it was Belvedere did it. It was an all white party. It was the first party that I ever did. It was an all white party. To see them change the whole club into this, white scene. Everything changed. Just transforming a club. And then Jamie Foxx going up there and performing. It was one of the coolest things. The second one just happened recently, and it's totally a different genre. It was this. It was called For the Children. It was this, hardcore, punk festival that I worked on for about 6 months, and it was over 2 days, over 25 bands, and you know all day long from 10 in the morning to 9, 10 at night. Just bands all day, just hardcore bands, and just it was all ages show. To see the young kids in there to the old, the older heads in there, it was just an amazing feeling of working on that for so long. The second part of that is we raised or we had donated. Every person brought a gift, so we had over like 4,000 gifts, and we actually
Nice.
gave it to the Roxbury YMCA, Austin who and Nate who helped put it on. Basically, put this all together. It's been going on for years, but for me to help be a part of it and to see not only an amazing 2-day festival, but the recognition that the city gave them and giving out the toys, to see the happy faces, and it was just a
Yeah, yeah,
whole combination of the whole week was just an amazing thing. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, you guys do quite a few events that are about giving back to the community. I've seen so many
absolutely,
flyers.
absolutely.
Um, so, do you have one that that you feel like you have an emotional attachment to? Like, how do you? I would assume all of them have an emotional attachment because you played it for so long. So
Yeah,
let me not say it that way. But when you're planning for 6 months,
sure.
is there like a certain point where it clicks and it feels like you figured out how it's going to play out, or like how do you
Yeah.
structure all that?
So if it's on December 5th and 6th, it clicks on the 7th after it's over. Yeah. I mean,
After the results have happened, yeah.
yeah. It clicked on the 7th. There's never too much planning, and this one we planned out so much because we had to, all the bands and things like that. There's obviously planning that goes into every event, but not necessarily 6 months out. We actually just blocked down the dates for next year's For the Children event, so I'm very
Nice.
excited for that one. And then we'll start the planning, and Nate and Austin will start booking the bands and everything for that. I'm really excited for that. I think there is a certain formula that I've had been able to have the longevity for, and a work ethic that gets it done. There's certain checklists that I have to get everything done. I don't think anything actually really clicks. When you see the ticket counts go up and things like that, I think you get the train rolling. I think that's a good sign.
Right.
It's good click
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yes, yes.
But the
Results.
full click, yeah, but the full click and the full results is about an hour after.
Yeah.
I think a successful show is when everybody leaves happy, a memorable thing. speaking again on that show. Dickie Barrett from the Mighty Mighty Bosstones came out and performed his song, and he hasn't. The Bosstones haven't been around for years and years. But they used to do this thing called hometown throwdown. So to bring him back, it was pretty memorable. And I think watching the social media the next day, and the surprises on people's faces and things like that was pretty remarkable.
Right. Yeah. It gives you an element of the job that you almost never really think about as you're coming up it, because you're just trying to make the dollars in the beginning.
Sure.
And then you start doing events like that, and the causes almost like it sits with you a lot more on an emotional level.
Absolutely.
Now, when it comes to this next one that you're going to be setting up,
Sure.
same dates, same time.
Yeah, December 5th, 6th, 2026. Yeah, the bands we haven't obviously announced yet, but it's an amazing 2 days, and to see all these bands come together, and definitely lots of surprises as always. So.